I'm not sure why it says. It must
All
be
right,
including.
now it's recording.
Okay, thanks, Busy.
There's an increase of 9,000 on benefits, but that can't be right.
That's a lot.
37.
Let me look at what that's tabulating on. Oh, the previous year's columns aren't right. It should be more like 21,000.
Oh, so that's why it showed such a big increase. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It should only, well, it should actually be a $1,215 increase.
Oh, is that because it's only showing part of the year because of the actual to date?
Yeah, I'm not sure. On my sheet, it's calculating right, but on the one on Google Docs,
There we go.
it's apparently wrong.
I got it.
That's better.
It had something to do with the way that F33 calculated. It was a formula originally, and when I just typed in the number itself, then it was fine.
Okay. So down to materials and services, I put in a couple of numbers there. The accounting, that's what we figured we'd like to pay, and when we talked to our auditor, we scope their work on that figure, where you say we have this much to work with, and that's the amount of auditing you're to do. So we can continue to do that. I think if everyone's satisfied with the auditing work, or maybe we don't want to do it every year. Maybe we want to do it every other year or something.
I mean, I think given the size of our budget, we're not required to do it every year, are we? Or is it because, well, I guess it's because it doesn't it, or does it just depend on that it's part of your budget?
I don't think it's required. It didn't seem like it was really required to be done in depth at all, only to have some kind of listing
Oh,
of it as an agency fund.
Got it. Yeah. That makes sense.
And the admin services fee, the budget committee was concerned about my time investment. So they wanted to create a calculation based on the total budget amount, and that would cover 5 hours of Christine, and then have some kind of amount to offset time from me. So 2% of the total seemed to be fairly reasonable. And my hourly salary is 34. If it's a 3% increase, it goes up to 35.87.
So you're doing it based on your salary, not salary plus benefits?
Yeah, just salary. Okay. Yeah. If it was salary plus benefits, then it would be quite a bit higher. But 1 hour a week, that seems reasonable to me.
Well, plus, I guess your benefits are what they are.
Right. Yeah, I'm already full time.
Right.
So.
You're salaried. They get to work you as much as they want.
Right. If we did it divided by actual hours, it'd be much less than 35.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the technology I think I put in notes from the previous years of what was in the technology line. So that's been things like Equinox support and book jacket images, logo design, web hosting.
And those things are in a new category now, right? If we're using them.
I don't know, are we breaking those out? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's what I was asking. I mean, so we still have the technology.
Yeah, all those things have been in the technology line in previous years.
Okay.
I think it would make sense to at least break the Equinox contract out as something separate.
Yeah.
Because, I would see the technology line, at least if I'm thinking about how I use my technology line item, it's like if Beth needs a new computer or a barcode scanner or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like
Or software.
contractual support.
Yeah, or software.
It seems like that may be better classified under technical services, actually.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to leave. I can, if you guys have a question, my phone will pick up any chat questions or messages. And so I can try to answer that way or answer later once I listen to the recording.
Okay. Good luck, Beth.
All right, thank you.
Buzzy, do you have any idea
For Brent,
for Brent?
I mean, I'll get you the figures. It's probably largely similar to yours, where it'll maybe be a 3% cost of living increase plus optional step increase, so it probably won't be far off from where it is now.
Mm-hmm. It kind of depends on the PERS, how PERS hits us, whether we get a cost of living increase at all this year.
Right. Well, and we won't be affected by that, so, and we probably will do some sort of cost of living increase. I don't know if this will affect Brent, but part of what may impact us is whatever the legislature or citizens decide to do with minimum wage, because we do have some positions that are affected. Obviously, Brent's is not, but if we start increasing the lower classification positions, we may end up proportionally bumping up some of the other positions, which may impact him. But I can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm kind of waiting on my budget is to try at least to figure out what's going to go on with minimum wage stuff.
When are they going to
Okay.
make a decision on that? Do we know?
My understanding is that the legislature is going to try to work something out in the short session, and if there are measures that are attempting to be put on the ballot, there are like 3 of them, I think now, ranging anywhere from $13 to $15 an hour minimum wage, with various levels of how quickly it increases. But the legislature would really like to head off having a ballot measure, but we'll see if that happens or not. They seem pretty determined too, though. And I believe that Perry, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that the one that's the most likely to be floated in by the legislature is a $13 an hour minimum wage that would be increased over a period of like 2 or 3 years, I think.
No, I'm not sure, yeah, but it'll be phased in.
Right. because some of the ballot measures, people, they've been back and forth. I mean, some of them don't have much of a phase in at all, which the legislature is really scared by.
Yeah.
Probably many,
Yeah.
many businesses. So that may affect that position if we end up proportionally bumping up some stuff. I mean, we're pretty close to at least 13 anyway, but yeah, I don't anticipate a huge increase.
Okay. So is that system support?
Right, that's Brent.
That's Brent.
And our health insurance, I don't know, it's always a crapshoot how much it's going to go up. It went up 10% this last time. We were on the calendar year. But our dental insurance didn't go up at all, so I don't know, who knows.
Okay. And that technical services is going away. That's the cataloging grant.
Yeah, but that should have Equinox in them.
That should have Equinox in it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if we have a certain amount of hours purchased from them or whether we're just going ad hoc these days.
I thought that we had like a very minimal amount of hours.
I don't think we've gotten the billing.
Let me ask Brad.
Well, yeah, it's probably minimal if it's anything. It seems like it's going to go down a lot as Brent gets up to speed.
I'm hoping we won't use legal services.
Right. 2,500 we paid in February, so maybe the billing just is about to come due. So we should put 2,500 in legal technical services to be safe.
Yeah, yeah. Legal service.
Yeah, that's kind of a place taker in case we need to run something by legal counsel.
So Brent thinks there's going to be more need for it this year than last.
Brent said that the amount for Equinox may be a bit higher. Well, probably not as high as it was before, but maybe a bit higher because of the upgrade. He says, okay. Yeah, so he says they buy them in a set.
Right.
And then use them as you need them. Yeah, probably a good idea to put in something.
Yeah. So the CAD Express stuff would basically be whatever the revenue line item is that the expense line item would equal it, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But doesn't that vary according to how many records people need through the year? So it's kind of hard to.
I don't think we ever bill out for more than we
No.
get.
Well, but I mean, that makes it easy. Because then you can just say, okay, whatever, the revenue will be $6,000 and the expense will be $6,000. And if it ends up actually being $3,000, it doesn't really matter.
No, yeah.
The expense is
As long as-
$3,000, yeah. So
as long as you don't
Right.
shift that 3,000 to somewhere
Right,
else,
exactly.
you don't get 3,000 income.
Yeah.
So the office supplies have been much bigger than we've anticipated. Those are things like courier labels and bank
Oh, wow.
checks
Yeah.
and ILL
So
labels.
courier labels don't come under courier expenses. They come under office supplies.
We don't have we have a courier line, but I think that just refers to courier services.
Because I think the way Beth has been doing the grant,
Mm-hmm.
is that she requests an amount from the state that to cover the Orbis Cascade courier drop sites, and then the SAGE budget is supposed to cover everything else. So everything that's not an Orbis Cascade courier drop site. So whether it's stamps.com or FedEx or whatever mail service people are using.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that
Yeah, let's make a note to have Beth discuss that with Christine. Maybe some of those line items need to be reallocated to the courier line. If there's any reason that needs to be courier
probably the
contracts
service
only.
supplies, the office supplies are just really supposed to be for the own administration of the SAGE office, which shouldn't be that much.
I mean,
Right.
it also makes me wonder if maybe we need to break the courier line item out farther. Like, so, there's courier Orbis and courier, mail at stamps.com and USPS and courier supplies.
Well, and this year you got a whole lot of boxes, like DVD boxes too,
Right.
right?
Right.
Right.
It would be interesting to know how much of it was going on to boxes and things versus how much of it was just going to services like.
We were surprised. We were actually expecting plastic boxes. We didn't realize they would be cardboard.
Yeah, they won't do so well in the rain if they get wet.
Do you know where the Evergreen Conference is going to be next year, Buzzy?
I don't know. Let me ask Brent. I haven't seen anything on the listserv for you for this year or next year? 2017?
Yes, 2017.
I don't know if they've
They
selected
haven't
this
decided.
space yet. I just asked Brent though. That's the one for travel.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be wherever that is. It'll make a difference.
Well, this year I think we have it pretty high because it's a.
So they already bought their tickets and their registration?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know.
It must have. I can't imagine it'd be that high if they haven't already. Or maybe that comes out of somewhere else though. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's a different line item.
Yeah, we've only spent $339 out of travel this year.
They have a professional development line or something?
Or excuse me, training.
Yeah.
That's under
I
training.
said the travel one's quite high.
Travel is a little high, so I think
Is
travel
travel
includes some. Maybe.
Travel around the site?
Let me take a look at the detail.
Brent said they haven't decided 2017 yet. I know they try to move it around to different parts of mainly Canada and the United States, though.
Where is it this year? Coming up?
This year's is in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, probably won't be any more expensive than this year's.
No, not unless they have it in Canada or something, but
No, that'd be cheaper. The dollar's really low.
no, that's true. I guess I was thinking if they had it on like the east side of Canada, but I don't
Montreal.
think they do that. I don't think there are very many libraries on the east side of Canada using Evergreen.
No. Oh, I don't think so.
So the travel this year has been, it looks like, all Beth. Catalog training in Pendleton, Boardman, Idaho Library Association conference.
Wouldn't that be under training?
Yeah, it probably could be moved to training.
My last invoice, I included some travel for Brent too.
Evergreen conference for Beth and Brent. So some of that, probably needs to be moved to training. And training includes just the conference registration for Idaho Library Association and administration class for Linux for Brent.
So both of those lines will probably be about the same.
Right.
At least that could be the budget, could be about the same as last year. It doesn't sound like much will change.
So how did we manage to get $6 in the miscellaneous?
Let me see.
$6 over.
Oh, the -6?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably some kind of a correction, I don't know, adjustment made.
Oh, $6.22.
Yes. Let's see if there's a...
Anyway.
Not seeing it on the sheet.
No, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
Other than
Payroll
that,
expenses.
you might want to know about it.
It's a bunch of reimbursement for state and federal payroll tax entries.
Oh. Interesting.
It's mostly direct deposit and just basically payroll fees and reimbursements. So I'm not sure how all that works, but it comes out to -622.
Furniture and equipment. I don't know, anything to talk about there?
Nobody needs a new computer?
Yeah. So we want to get Beth a new laptop to use, stuff like that.
I can't remember. As part of the
technology
EU agreement that they provide her a computer?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, I think it is
too. We just got her a laptop last year or the year before.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not just a desktop, or does she use the laptop in her office as well?
She doesn't even do a desktop. Yeah, she just uses a laptop.
Okay.
Brings it back and forth.
Well, and we provided Brent a laptop. I mean, it's technically ours, but I think we bought it 2 years ago too, so he doesn't need one either.
So I don't anticipate that we're going to need anything in that line.
So in terms of the courier line, given the amount that we've used so far, is that primarily just because we get front loaded with the Orbis bill?
Right.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, so the Orbis bill is what, around 40-something thousand? Because that's whatever the grant is.
That sounds right.
Bill. And then anything else is paid by Sage. So it looks actual to date 53. That doesn't look very high.
It does seem kind of low, doesn't it? I know that Beth has really been, well, I mean, part of it could be, at least a minor part of it could be because some of these things like the labels and stuff are being taken on office supplies instead of courier. But
yeah, maybe.
I know that Beth's been trying to find ways of doing things less expensively. So, like, if I remember correctly, I think that, like, for instance, some of Lake County's branches, like Silver Lake and Christmas Valley, they mail stuff to the libraries, but then when we send it back, we actually send it back to Lake County. Does that sound right, Perry?
Yeah.
Because we used to send it to EOU, but now we send it to Lakeview.
Mm-hmm. So there's a little more direct travel for materials.
Yeah.
Which could be.
Well, kind of. I think she's offloaded more stuff onto Orbis.
Or onto the or offloading for travel from, like, a branch courier. That's all paid by the library system.
Right, which would be running it anyway.
Right.
We're the same way. So, and Baker.
That's maybe saving some money too.
The detail sheet on that line does have stamps.com and U.S. Postal Service, and then some individual transport companies, individuals.
Was this the line item that had like compensation back for like the Umatilla County Courier or something like that? What was that? Didn't we have a discussion about that a year or two ago?
There was some deal made where Umatilla County wanted compensation for their courier that goes between all their branches, and I don't know if that's changed now. That now you've got Marcia there.
There was another one that was like, there were a few kind of local couriers that Sage was compensating, as like the Umatilla one, and like whatever the one that serves like Enterprise and the Wallowa Public Library and stuff. Does this sound familiar to you, Perry?
No.
I can't remember if we punted that discussion or what.
We're paying for that courier because that one comes to EOU as well, and it goes all the way down to through Enterprise and Wallowa and to Joseph, I think, and back again. Elgin's on there. Can't remember the name of the courier. It's an individual.
I remember we talked about it because we were talking about what we thought was appropriate to compensate and what we wasn't.
I think that one needs to be compensated because it delivers stuff between a whole lot of unrelated libraries. Like
right. No, that one made sense. I think it was the Umatilla one that was the one that we were questioning.
Yeah, that one is hard to say.
Just because, like, Sage doesn't compensate Baker County or us or Lake County, nor I don't expect them to.
Right.
So then why Umatilla County be different?
And they have a special district.
Right.
Service district.
It might be a question for Beth. Because I remember the
Yeah.
Umatilla library, the Umatilla one was a decent amount of money.
It was a lot of money. I thought it wasn't something that
It
the
was like in
courier-
excess of like, it was like, somewhere like $8,000 or something. I don't know. It was a bunch.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think so. Something like that rings a bell.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right. I'll try to ask Beth.
And then that's it for materials and services.
Yes.
Pretty straightforward.
Did you want to look at any of the other spreadsheets, Perry?
No, this is our main documents. The others are, just for answering questions.
Okay. Are we anticipating that, no, that's not the right document. Are we anticipating that we would pretty much keep the same structure for the membership dues? Just basically just increase everybody by whatever percent?
That's easiest. I remember talking last year about a couple of different ways to do it that would pretty radically change the payment structure especially for some members, but it seemed like a more equitable way. So how to phase something like that in
Right.
would be the challenge.
Okay.
Whether we wanted to do that or not. I mean, people are satisfied. I'm sure people who were getting their costs lowered wouldn't mind. Those who had to pay quite a bit more.
Yeah, I can't remember what was the rationale for changing the way it was. Do you remember?
Maybe if I can find that document, I might get a clue.
I don't know where I have all my 2015-16 stuff. That's weird.
Okay. So the alternate schemes were based more on a population served with some different
That's right.
Rates, 0.75 per person or $0.66 per person, with a minimum fee, that doesn't go any lower than a certain rate.
I thought we kind of had a minimum fee anyway. Yeah, it's $1,050, at least for the circulating libraries.
Right. And then there's a IL-only flat fee as well.
Right. I think there was some talk that might be too low, but
Are you anticipating any new members next year? Any different categories?
well, isn't Harney County Schools joining?
Yeah, several Harney
So
County
are they
schools.
joining
Is that this year or next
Well,
fiscal year?
I think it should be the fiscal year 16-17.
Okay, and I guess
If
that
not-
was the question. I can't remember if the budget committee was supposed to talk about this, or if it's the governance committee about having entrance fees.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember which committee was supposed to talk about that?
I think the governance committee was supposed to talk about that.
too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm the chair of that committee now too. I'll talk to Marie. I can't remember. I don't know.
And I thought they were supposed to also look at a new category of membership and what that might cost, like because Harney County, it's a school district, it's not
Right.
a high school or whatever.
That's what I thought too. I'll write myself a note about that too.
I thought that was actually done.
I
I
thought
thought
it
they
was too.
actually came up with something, but I don't see it on this sheet that is in front of us here. Maybe
But
it's
I
really
don't think we talked about having a fee to join though.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, maybe it was something like we would charge them the cost it took to import their records or something. Beth had talked about that, but I don't think that really took into account the time.
Yeah.
I don't remember. All right. I'll email Beth and Marie about that. And
So
if that's the case, that would be something we might need another line item for, would be entrance fee or something. A revenue line item.
Yeah.
Looking at the alternate proposals, some of the harder hit ones would be the libraries like Ontario and Pendleton that are in a tier of 15,000 to 30,000 population. Everybody in that range is charged the same rate, but
Right.
if we were to move to a proportionate rate per population, Ontario would be paying about $6,000 more.
Right. And it's also hard because if I remember correctly, Ontario and Pendleton, even though they're quite large, I believe that per capita their rates are pretty darn low. I know
Right.
Ontario's definitely is, and I think Pendleton's is fairly low as well. Their effective rate anyway.
Yeah, so that would be hard then for them to pay just based on FTE or county population.
But 15,000 to 30,000, I mean, we could also discuss whether those tiers need to be broken out some.
Right. You're thinking about breaking that tier out more?
Maybe so.
Divided into two, something like that? Two different tiers, a high tier and a low tier?
Like 15 to 25?
Oh, it looks like Oregon Trail's just over 10, and so they're grouped in. Everybody else in their 5 to 15,000 class is 8,000 or less. Maybe we need a 5 to 10,000 and a 10 to 20,000 and then 20 to 30,000.
Well, I think the issue that we run into is that this is, no, I guess this isn't connected to the membership of the council anymore, is it? Because we broke it out from that. Maybe? I feel like we broke it out a bit.
Right. Yeah, I need to look at that.
I don't think the membership of the council changed all that much, did it?
No, but I think that the way that we did the representation, yeah, they're not, well, they're kind of connected. I mean, there's no reason they have to be connected in that way. They don't have to be. So libraries serving fewer than 5, between 5 and 15, and over 15. And one of the issues that we run into is that getting the 2 representatives from the libraries that serve between 5 and 15 tends to be challenging.
Right.
Yeah. But if you're going to change anything about a tier, you should probably make sure that you've got some people from that tier to comment.
Okay.
5 to 15 is the one where it's hard to get people?
Yeah. And part of it just has to do with, like, we have 2 representatives in that category, but
There's only 6
those
libraries.
libraries are really kind of on the verge where, you know, the people who would be the typical, you know, the directors who would typically be on the council do a lot of the on-the-desk work too. I mean, not that
Yeah.
Perry and I don't work on the desk as well in our size libraries, but, you know, it's like
They do a lot of other things.
they have kind of similar
other stuff.
challenges to some of the smaller libraries in terms of finding the time.
I believe it.
Well, if we made a change, you know, say to 10,020, that would put Oregon Trail, Baker, LeGrand, and the Dalles. Oh no, the Dalles would be just over 20.
Right.
Oregon
But
Trail,
then
Baker,
Oregon
and
Trail would still be an outlier because they're significantly lower than
they would be lower than the 19,000. Yeah.
Baker, Grand. I think if they're going to be an outlier, they might as well be at the top of their tier to kind of get the benefit of it, the doubt.
You mean in terms of the Dallas being an outlier? You know?
Oregon Trail, with a 10,000 population served, it's kind of higher than, it's either higher than the ones in the low tier or it's lower than the ones in a higher tier.
Yeah. Maybe it's just hard too because, yeah, I don't know. But Oregon Trail also has multiple branches, so I don't know.
That 5 to 15,000, if we went with either of the rates that I'd drawn up last year, they'd all go down by several $1,000s.
The 5 to 15, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's the 15 to 30 that would go up.
It would go up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to make a big difference what tier they're in.
Right. I mean, the tiers seem to be working okay.
Well, yeah, it's.
I don't know.
I think occasionally we get some questions about fairness, but people are used to it.
What kind of questions? Just.
It's usually I like somebody who's on the verge
Right.
of
Well,
a tier.
you got to draw the line somewhere.
You gotta draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've also. Oh, go ahead.
They wish they were in, just below the line, and we're in that lower tier.
Tell them to kick some people out of their service area.
That's what redistricting is about, and the engineering of your district boundaries. Politics all the time.
The size of their city. I thought about this too. I mean, it would hit us and Baker and Lake, but I've also thought like those of us with multiple branches, would it make more sense for us to pay more? Because we are more of an administrative pain.
You could add like a branch tax or something, a little added extra for people with branches, and then that would just affect a few libraries. It might make sense, it might be more fair for Oregon Trail since they have branches, but they're in a lower tier.
So it would affect, let me see, who would it affect? That would affect us, the Dalles, Baker, Oregon Trail, and Lake.
Yeah. And Grant.
And what?
Does Grant County have different branches? Arlington and...
Do they? We have the Fossil City Library. I didn't think that was part of the Is that part of the Grant
No,
County? No, they're their own thing.
that's not Grant County. Grant County is, I think they're Arlington and Condon.
Oh, Arlington has its own library down here.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
the other one it would affect would be Wallowa Public. Because don't they have Troy and something else? Or is that the
Really?
Wallowa County Library? I can't remember which one. I think it's the Wallowa
No,
Library.
okay.
Well, and I wonder, what do the branches really entail more
Well, I don't
administrative
know. I
costs
guess I'm just
on
thinking about it
Sage's
from the
behalf?
standpoint of it's another career location. I don't know. I mean, it's also on the flip side. I mean, I can't speak for the Dows, but I know, at least from sounds like your standpoint too, Perry. We also do a lot of our own administration.
Right.
Like, yeah. I mean, we do a lot of managing within Evergreen with things like shelving locations and stuff like that in a way that I think the smaller libraries probably don't. So
Right.
who knows? Anyway, I don't know. I haven't heard significant complaints about the current breakout, so maybe we just want to leave it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could certainly give people a chance to voice an opinion.
Yeah.
Using that same schedule and have people say, "Oh, I would really like to move in that direction," or not.
Right. Ask them if they have thoughts about the way things should be priced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else? Are there any costs that are coming up next year that are new or different?
Any plans for
We don't have any
add-ons?
part-time staff that the sick leave benefit's gonna. Well, I guess if there's a contractor, the sick leave benefit doesn't apply.
They're
we did.
responsible for doing it. Yeah, they're.
Yeah. We hired a few people this last year for some extra catalog cleanup work.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So is that something you're going to do again? Or want
I think
to do
that came
again?
out of the cataloging grant, so because there was some extra funds, so I don't anticipate that they would do that again.
Yeah, I think that was that other cataloging grant that we got, wasn't it? Didn't we get that one that was like they were trying to get rid of the extra fiscal year's worth of money?
Right. From getting a late start with hiring.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Forgot about that too. I think the contractors have to cover it themselves, and Beth and Brent already get leave benefits, so. And David does too.
So I guess we should, if we're gonna survey membership, throw in the proposal of adding a permanent cataloging staff.
Right.
Maybe throw in the proposal and then give people an estimate of how much it would increase their dues, so they know what they're looking at, and then everybody can say, oh well, my dues are going to go up too much, or maybe oh that's great, I want one anyway.
I don't remember, Perry. So you had several scenarios. One of them was just to do it purely based on population. Was that it?
Right.
Okay.
At 65 cents per person, or I think the other one was like 77 or some other percent. 75%
Then if
or
your
75
house is
cents per person or 66 cents per person.
I'm not sure I would be terribly in favor of that.
no,
Actually, it's not so much that it would increase our costs. I think we get a great deal. It's more that I feel like there is a base cost just to being a part of the system
Yeah.
that I'm not sure a pure population-based charging system reflects. Basically, there need to be a floor.
Yeah, so both of those, well, one scenario didn't have any minimum, but the one with a minimum, we were able to use the lower rate of 66 cents per person.
Got it. Oh, that makes sense. So the idea would be to pull the membership about what their desired method for charging membership would be, or would it be just to get their ideas, or what?
I think people always think better if they have some proposals to comment on, and then that might start them thinking of other things. Certainly be welcome to other suggestions, but I think it would be good to show them what we've already thought of and what those rates would be.
I guess I just worry that if we just poll them based on a few different proposals, that they're just going to vote for the ones, they just prefer the ones where they pay less.
Yeah, that's probably what they do.
Totally understand. We do the same thing. Yeah, okay, so there's the status quo plus whatever percent increase.
Mm-hmm. And there's the cost plus cataloger position.
Cost plus cataloger position.
And then I guess the alternate structures, we'd probably need to throw out the cataloger position and just go with the alternate structure as status quo.
Right. So there'd be the pure population and the population plus floor.
Mm-hmm.
Will we put out the pure population one?
Sure.
Okay. Was there another structure? I can't remember. I don't think there was.
There are some other columns, but I'm not sure I know how to make sense of them. Formula 10% divided equally and 90% divided according to population served. So I don't remember what that means.
weighting, yeah.
Formula 30% divided equally and 70% divided.
Oh, that had to do with what didn't that have to do with, like, we wanted to increase the budget by this percent and just like figuring out how to divide it out?
Or was it? No, it couldn't be 10% of the whole budget divided equally. Yeah, it must be increasing. It doesn't really make any sense to me, actually, to have no floor, so maybe we should just throw that out.
Kind of what I was thinking too.
We don't want to go any lower than people are already paying now.
Right, because that would be, what would that mean?
I think under schools under 100 are at $850, and the ILL onlys are at $340.
What was the pure population one? It was 70 cents, 77 cents,
75.
75. Yeah, I mean that would have Cove paying $220.
Have
Or,
they
sorry,
started
that's
circulating?
well, that's the wrong place. Oh, did I have Ukiah paying $220 versus $1,050?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd say
Right.
the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. Did we ever look at how other consortia structure theirs?
Yeah. Well, I remember we looked. We did, but I can't remember exactly how it was. I know that Orbis Cascade had a formula based on. It was certain percentage was based on your FTE, your student FTE, and a certain percentage was based on your collections budget.
Right.
And a certain percentage was something else. I can't remember what.
Is it the collection size or something like that?
Nothing was ever collection size. There was a collections budget piece, library collections budget piece, but not a collection size.
That seems interesting. It seems like you get penalized for spending more money on materials.
Yeah, and then you'd be providing more to the consortium.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
maybe that was just their proxy for this library has more money or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. A proxy for you guys have more money, and if you have more materials, library materials are probably a bigger drain on the system too, when you think about it.
But then I guess my question would just be, well, why not just base it on budget purely rather than collection budget specifically?
Rather than collection budget. I think it gets complex deciding what exactly forms a part of your budget and what doesn't.
I can only imagine how complicated that discussion must have been among Orbis Cascade, knowing how some of their other discussions go.
Yeah, their budget discussions can get really complex. That's for sure. But
I remember WPCLS, that one wasn't really comparable because what they did is the county just pays for the consortium level stuff.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the idea of having some kind of a floor and then dividing it out either by formula or we're using this tiered approach, probably the best. Whatever you come up with, if it's too radical a departure from what they have now, then nobody will like it anyway.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Ontario, I know, would really get nailed with the population one.
Yeah, they would.
So if there's other things that are affecting that, like they may have a high population, but if they have a low conversion rate or whatever you were talking about.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. There's that budget basis too. But then you also have the districts naturally have a larger budget. Many of the districts have larger budgets, but they're also covering more within their budgets than say and to give you an example, our budget's probably bigger than the Hermiston Public Library, even though our population served is functionally identical, but Hermiston doesn't have to cover certain things that we have to cover, so
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have 6 branches and a bookmobile to cover all those buildings.
Well, I guess I was more thinking of stuff that's covered that isn't reflected in the library's budget. So like Hermiston, I'm guessing probably a lot of their maybe their maintenance stuff and things and the cost of personnel management, things like that, or their finance isn't actually reflected in their budget, whereas in ours it is. So just weird things like that.
And it would be too cumbersome, I think, to try to create a calculation like that for all of the different members. I mean, it's changing so differently every year. We need something more stable and So
maybe that is why.
yeah.
Maybe that is why Orbis chose to use collection budget.
Something that doesn't change too much over the years, hopefully. That's
Well,
stable.
hopefully it's increasing.
Hopefully it's increasing, yeah, that's true.
No, even though Ontario would really get hammered with the change, I'm not sure how much their budget has increased since they become a special district.
Their tax rate is pretty low, if I remember correctly. I have that info somewhere. No, I guess it's not that low. 55 cents.
Oh yeah,
But I mean,
that's like our
they
base
get
rate.
$543. Well, this was in 2013, so they get $543. Like that's significant. That's a lot. That's lower than what we make, even though we serve fewer people. It's way lower than what Wasco gets, even though they serve fewer people.
Mm-hmm.
Probably lower than what you guys get. Yeah, it's lower than what you guys get. Although you guys have a levy on top of yours.
Right.
Wow, I mean, look, it's identical to what Fern Ridge Library gets, even though Fern Ridge literally serves fewer than half the number of people, and they have a lower tax rate.
Interesting.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Is their property values higher?
I don't know. I mean,
It must be.
I've never really perceived Fern Ridge as being like a really desirable place to live. Not that it's not like a hellhole, but it's a little bit outside of Eugene, right?
Compared to Ontario, remember?
Good point.
Where would you choose? Oh dear. Okay. Unfortunately, I have to get going because I have a meeting at 3:30.
Okay.
But
Okay.
thanks,
All right.
and I will talk to you guys later.
Good to have you in on a meeting again, Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Good to
kind
hear your
of
voice.
fun. Okay. See you guys.
All right. Bye. All right. Do you want to try to do something that's based on, I don't know, collection budget or something, or do you just want to leave it with the ones we have?
I mean, it would be interesting to see what that would look like.
I'd be interested to see. I mean, we have to get the, well, I guess we can get that from the State Library Statistical Report, can't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. But it also depends. That figure, I think, depends on how people calculate their collection budgets. Like some people don't include their database subscription fees in there.
Right. Well, no. Well, but that's why you'd use the State Library statistics, because I think that they have to.
They require that to be included.
Part of the calculation. Library revenue. Yeah, let's see. Total expenditures on collection. Yeah, so. Let's see. We're at 93. Grants at 55. Yeah, this is where it's going to like really vary a lot. Dallas is at, no, let's see. Dallas is at 93. You guys are at 100. Ontario, let's see, Pendleton's at, wow, 32. This would really change it. Ontario's at 63. I didn't realize Pendleton's that low.
Wow.
Hermiston.
Yeah, some of them have next to nothing.
Oh, Hermiston's only at 32 too. Wow, that would really change the calculation a lot.
Yeah. So we'd have to be paying a huge amount
Yeah, and we would too. The Dalles would.
just to make up that difference of the losses.
Who else are we looking at next? Umatilla is at 12. Oregon Trail's at 34. They'd be paying, probably that would mean they'd be paying quite a bit more. Because that means they have a better collection budget than Hermiston, or this is from 2013-14, so I'm sure it's changed, but
Mm-hmm.
that would mean that they're paying more than Hermiston or Pendleton. And then it could be affected by whether they got grants to fund their collections or something like that. So
Yeah, right.
yeah, Lake would be paying a lot more. They're on 29. Anyway.
Yeah, and with a population of 7,600 compared to 20,000,
Right.
you know, for Hermiston.
Ontario actually was okay. It was 63. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it's not bad. Harney's is at 26. It's kind of interesting. All right. I will email Beth some stuff, and I'll email Marie about the user fee. User fee for joining. Do you want to try the collection budget thing, or?
No, I think that's too radical of a
Pretty
change.
big shift.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, you could do like per capita collection spending, but even that would shift it pretty radically.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that would be more logical, I think. But
Percent of operating expenses, that would be quite different too. Oh wow, Ontario's is actually pretty high for a percent of their operating expenses, but do you ever use this data to do salary analysis?
I piggyback on what you've done.
No. I actually, when I do it, I had to dump Ontario's data out
Yeah,
because they were such an outlier.
right.
Like the range, the payment salary range for their director is $15 to $20 an hour.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
All right. Anything else?
I will update these numbers that I have from when we tried the alternate schedule and send that and post that up on the Google Docs
Okay,
for
and
reference.
then Anne should be coming out with the new spreadsheet soon for like the population served and stuff, right? Or has she already? I haven't noticed.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. She usually comes out with it early in the year, because that's where we get our population served numbers from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Great.
All right.
Thank
Talk to
you.
you later. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.